What the actual is going on at Chelsea, both on and off the pitch? Could Harry Kane seriously start for Bayern as a goalkeeper? And Neymar is once again left out of Ancelotti's Brazil squad. Is his World Cup dream over? This is DMAC Daily. Guys, I don't know what's more embarrassing, this image alone or the post-match words that followed from Rafinha. Quote, "My players made a decision that they wanted to be around the ball, to respect the ball." What in the Ted Lasso am I hearing here? I thought "man age, you're aging men" was a diabolical sentence, but holy cornball, the Huddlegate saga is next level embarrassing stuff. Like, is this man serious about management or featuring on the Diary of a CEO podcast? Jokes aside though, I will admit, on the pitch, I don't think it's as dire as people are making it out to be. For such a supposedly inexperienced manager, the team's record under his leadership is actually fairly decent. Joao Pedro also seems to be thriving under Rafinha. It's just the past week or so where the cracks have started to appear. That self-implosion in Paris was backed up by a similarly depressing defeat at home to a Newcastle side that had rested several key players for their midweek UCL tie. Now pending a miracle second leg remontada at the bridge, which I'm 99.9% sure isn't happening, Chelsea's season has suddenly fallen off a cliff. As bad as Liverpool are, and even with Villa's recent woes, I don't think any Chelsea fan is now overly confident of a top 5 finish. And without UCL football, can this club genuinely improve heading into next season? Now, some Chelsea fans are already calling for Rafinha's head, saying he should have never got the job in the first place. In fact, Sky Sports are already reporting that Rafinha's job is suddenly under threat. But I think most rational Chelsea fans will recognize that Rafinha isn't the real issue with this club. Sure, he's not proven to be elite, but his initial appointment was a symptom of a board that lacks serious ambition or vision in the first place. Like, Maresca wasn't sacked at Chelsea due to results. He was sacked because he critiqued the board's inability to pursue a centre-back. He challenged the hierarchy and was immediately then shown the exit door. That to me speaks volumes. They don't want a contentious employee that will potentially challenge their methods. Chelsea's owners are first and foremost intent on securing every wonder kid under the sun. They've gone down the Brighton path, a vast investment portfolio of young talent from all across the world, several of which who have world-class potential. But a team worthy of competing for the Premier League or UCL? That clearly isn't Blueco's main priority. This mentality is clearly flawed though, and the subsequent stagnation that has occurred on the pitch will only lead to internal angst for their best players long term. Your Enzos, your Palmers, Caicedos, they're not going to stick around forever if Chelsea don't show serious aspiration. And right now, they clearly don't. They're an inexperienced group that struggles against the best and has a blatant discipline issue. The fans are now fed up, and so every setback is then amplified. Rafinha might be the short-term scapegoat, but the owners are going to inevitably face the wrath. So yeah, the vibes aren't exactly great. It doesn't help that club captain Reece James has just suffered a fresh hamstring blow, the 10th of his entire career. But hey, on a more positive note, at least the Blues have avoided a serious punishment via the Premier League's official verdict. Now, when you read some of the headlines following this verdict, it may sound severe, but in reality, it is anything but. It includes a 1-year first-team transfer ban and a record Premier League fine. But the key detail here is that the transfer ban is suspended for 2 years, so it only comes back to bite Chelsea if they commit further breaches in that period. There is also no points deductions, which was always the real threat in terms of actual competitive damage. In practical terms, the club can still sign senior players as normal, so their first team and squad planning aspirations are not affected in any capacity. So why did Chelsea escape harsher punishment? Well, that's because the current ownership, Blueco, voluntarily self-reported the historical irregularities after taking over in 2022, and then fully cooperated with the Premier League investigation. The league explicitly treated that cooperation as a major mitigating factor. The sanction agreement states that without Chelsea's self-reporting and, quote, exceptional cooperation, the punishment would have been much tougher. For those wondering about the violations themselves, well, they relate to financial reporting issues between 2011 and 2018, including payments to unregistered agents connected to transfers involving Eden Hazard, Ramirez, David Luiz, Andre Schürrle, and Nemanja Matic. Investigators found that more than £47.5 million was paid to various individuals and entities, some of which breached league regulations governing intermediaries and financial disclosures. So the only immediate operational hit that has followed is at academy level. Chelsea now cannot register certain youth players from other Premier League or EFL academies for the next 9 months. So yeah, despite the optics of a record fine and a transfer ban, this punishment is essentially a little slap on the wrist. Let's be real here. Moving to international football news, and the headline from Brazil's latest squad announcement is impossible to ignore. Neymar has once again been left out of the Seleção squad. Brazil's all-time leading scorer will not be called upon in March friendlies against France and Croatia. Now, on paper, it's a major headline, right? Neymar remains Brazil's record goal scorer with 79 international goals, and he's one of the most iconic players in the nation's history. But in reality, his absence comes as no surprise, really. The 34-year-old has not played for Brazil since October 2023, when he suffered a devastating ACL rupture in a World Cup qualifier against Uruguay. The injury sidelined him for over a year and has been followed by further fitness issues since returning to boyhood club Santos. Granted, he did have a promising spell in the back end of 2025, heroically steering Santos out of the relegation zone, but knee surgery would follow in the off-season, and it's pretty obvious right now he's nowhere near full fitness or the level required to play for Brazil. I do feel for Ancelotti in a way, because literally every single squad announcement and press conference he's had since stepping into the Brazil job has been solely hyper-focused on Neymar alone. Every time he has to repeat himself that Neymar's a great player, but that if he's not 100% fit, he won't be called upon. It's deja vu every international break. That reality casts serious doubt on Neymar's short-term international future. With the World Cup beginning in June, Brazil have only a handful of remaining preparation matches, so unless Neymar dramatically rediscovers elite form and, more importantly, fitness at Santos, his chances of forcing his way back into the squad appear increasingly slim. Neymar actually spoke out following the latest squad snub, saying, quote, "I'm upset and sad, but I will work harder. The dream lives on." In Neymar's absence, though, Ancelotti's squad saw some interesting inclusions. Brentford striker Igor Thiago has deservedly earned his first call-up after scoring 19 Premier League goals this season, while Bournemouth's teenage sensation Ryan, Flamengo defender Leo Pereira, and Galatasaray midfielder Gabriel Sara are also included for the first time. Alongside the new additions in attack, there's the familiar faces of Vini Jr., Rafinha, Joao Pedro, Cunha, and Martinelli. Wonder kid Estevao is a noticeable absentee too. He's still recovering from a hamstring injury, but another wonder kid since returns to the fold in Endrick. He's been out of the squad for almost a year now, so great to see him back on the pitch at club level and most likely on the international stage. As for Neymar, look, the door isn't officially closed, but time is clearly running out. So do you think he makes the World Cup squad? Let me know below. Moving back to club football, and the goalkeeper situation at Bayern is just pure chaos right now. They're facing a sudden injury crisis so severe that a 16-year-old goalkeeper with zero professional experience could be starting in a Champions League round of 16 tie. The situation has unfolded rapidly over the past week. Bayern's long-term number one, Manuel Neuer, is currently sidelined with a muscular injury, the latest in a series of setbacks for the 39-year-old. His deputy, Jonas Urbig, then suffered a suspected concussion during Bayern's Champions League first leg victory over Atalanta, leaving him doubtful for the return fixture. The problems worsened at the weekend when veteran backup Sven Ulreich tore an adductor muscle during a Bundesliga draw with Bayer Leverkusen, ruling him out for several weeks. With Bayern's reserve goalkeeper Leon Planic also injured, head coach Vincent Kompany finds himself without a single fully fit senior option. Unless you want to include Harry Kane, that is. Yes, believe it or not, he technically has European experience playing as a goalkeeper, although just quietly, I think he's a little better suited further up the park. Anyways, this extraordinary chain of events has propelled Leonard Prescott, the former ball boy and now 16-year-old Bayern Academy prospect, into sudden UCL contention. If he does start, Prescott would become Bayern's youngest ever goalkeeper and the youngest ever goalkeeper to compete in the UCL. So it would be an extraordinary environment for the youngster to make his debut. That being said, Bayern's commanding 6-1 lead heading into the second leg somewhat diminishes the high-stakes environment of a UCL knockout match, so maybe that cushion will allow company to trust an otherwise inexperienced option if Urbig fails to recover in time. He actually trained on Monday but is still a doubt at this stage. Another alternative option is Jannis Bartel of Bayern's reserve team. They compete in the 4th tier of Germany, a slightly more experienced option perhaps, although only time will tell who inevitably gets the nod. Personally, I'd love to see Prescott be given the opportunity. It's crazy, just 2 years ago he was working as a ball boy behind Neuer's goal at the Allianz Arena. It would be a historic, albeit unconventional way to break into the first team. Anyways guys, that's all for today's DMAC Daily. Remember, we got 2 big days of UCL action on the horizon. So with that being said, I'll see you tomorrow.